Hello, this is wmpyr. For today's lesson, I want to present with you guys a very small portion of a strategy, basically a small game plan. And the reason why I'm doing this is because back in the day when I was training in BJJ, there was an instructional videotape series from Mario Sperry, 1 through 6, and then 6 through 12. It was his Valetudo tape series, and it was absolutely awesome. It changed my game when I was training in BJJ at the time. Just practicing with that and then applying it into class. I mean, it really made a lot of sense to me because what he presented was a game plan, all right? Instead of just a bunch of random techniques that are for beginners and then said, here, practice this. What he did was he put it together into a simple sequence that made sense, all right? So I want to do a little bit of that today, okay? So, all right, the first thing is the scenario. I got to describe the scenario. Basically, I have a stick or a baton or something like that, and my opponent, the bad guy, has a knife. Okay, so that's the scenario. Open space, and for some reason I can't run away, all right? So in this kind of situation, okay, basically I want to start off with the jab. Basically, I want to keep the distance, okay? So nice and simple, just like boxing, you're going to keep the jab. Notice the stick is in my right hand, my right side is to the front, all right? So this is going to be my jab right here, just basically using the wrist and just quick strikes like this, all right? So 1, 2, 3, and I move around, keep that distance, 1, 2, 3, okay? Move around, 1, 2, 3, okay? 3 is a good number. I don't recommend going more than 4, okay? Don't do 4, 5, or 6 at a time unless you're just that fast. 3 is, like I said, 3 is a good number. Okay, so from here, all right, I don't want to become too predictable. So I'm going to add different angles. Okay, so this one right here was the jab. Okay, I could come in this way. Okay, this way right here, and I could bring the stick this way. Okay, you see that? Boom, boom, boom. Like that. So now I'm coming from here instead of right here. Okay, so this will change things up a bit. And my hand is like this, so it's kind of like I'm throwing a jab like that. But the arm is lower just because the stick is over here, and this is where I'm going to be hitting with. So it's a nice circular motion right there, okay? So that's another one. And then the other one that I can do, number 3, is to go this way, boom. So this is almost like a hook right there, okay? So this comes in from the side, and I'm using the wrist again. So I'm just going bam, bam, right here from the side, and I'm coming around to put the tip of the stick, bam, and catch them, all right? So this is the first one, first jab, second jab, and then this is kind of the hook right there, very rapid hook. Now, all of these techniques are nice and quick, non-committed, and it's designed to keep you moving and to keep that distance, but they do lack in power, all right? If the other person is determined to say, you know what, I'm going to take a hit like that to the face, I don't care, as long as I could rush in and come in with a stab, it's worth it. If they have that kind of commitment, they're going to be a danger. So what we need to do is, the distance is not enough in this case. Just using a distance, because all they have to do is rush in. And them rushing in is going to be a lot easier, a lot more powerful than you sidestepping or moving diagonally or anything like that, because they're just rushing in forward, and they have a margin of error because they could just kind of net out their arms. So if they miss rushing into you, they can kind of reach around, grab you, and then pull you into the knife. Okay, so we have to think about that. So trying to keep the distance like that may not be good enough. So the other addition that we're going to add here is power. Okay, so from here, 1, 2, this is the same. This is the jab that we first did. From here, you're just going to bring it back and come in with a very strong swing, fully committed swing, okay? That hopefully will hurt them enough or make them scared enough that it's going to start to hurt their commitment, okay? Where they go, you know what, I'm just going to rush in. We want to take that away from them, okay? So this power shot is very important, but now at the same time, I don't want to trade their rush in and stab with my power shot. I don't want to see who's going to win that one. I want to play it safe. So one of the things that I do is I'm bringing it back here, so I'm mixing it in with the jab and trying to keep my distance. They start to rush in, okay? I see that opportunity, so I'm going to bring this back here and lock it okay? And as they're coming in, what I'm going to do is notice the stick is in my right hand, my right side is to the front, my right leg is to the front. What I'm going to do is I'm going to basically hop back and continue to strike, okay? So I kind of maintain a little bit of that distance as I strike. Okay, so instead of striking and putting all my force and coming in forward where we're going to clash and then it's a dice roll, okay, who's going to win, who knows, all right, I'm actually going to still keep the distance to my advantage and I'm bringing it in, power shot right here, but as they come in, I'm hopping back and I'm still adding a power strike, okay? So that's very, very important. Same thing with the other techniques. This jab, the jab from this side, okay? From here, what we could do is we could mix in the backhand. Very, very powerful strike. So from here, bam, bam, and then you can put in that backhand. But what we would like to do, in addition to the power strike, is to keep that distance. So you're going to do this, take that diagonal step, and then do a backhand. Don't just do the backhand, because then, like I said, you'll be trading shots with them. So 1, 2, 3, take that step, and then do the backhand. Okay, so same thing with the small hook over here. For this one, to put power in there, what we're going to do is you're going to bring the stick over here and now change it into a reap, where instead of just using the flick of the wrist like this, now you're actually following through and really ramming this through and making that reap attack. But once again, same thing. I don't want to trade, so as they're coming in and I see that, so this comes in like this, I'm going to and move out of the way. So as I put this through, my left leg spins back, I turn around like a door, so I get to kind of circle out, okay? So that's the main strategy right there. But on top of that, afterwards, we want to continue maintaining that distance. And one of the easiest things to keep that distance to do for you is this, a figure eight motion. So you could go from the top like this, or you could go from the bottom, or you could mix them up. You could go from the top like this, and then switch to bottom, and then switch back to top. All right, but the figure eight is basically a flail, and that should keep them at bay as long as they're not super committed. The only problem with so after you do, let's say the reap, and then maybe they recover from that, or maybe it just kind of scared them off, okay, and then they're still trying to look for an opening to come in, this is when you could start going into the figure eight motion to create that space even more. Like I said, you want that space. You don't want them to come in. So from here, all right, if they do decide to rush in, once again, we have to understand that this figure eight motion, if they come in here, they're going to get hit. They're going to get hit. In fact, when training with a knife, all right, when I'm doing this kind of motion, I have students ask me, how do you disarm that? All right, it's a good question. The answer is you don't. When they're doing this kind of motion like this with a knife, this is what we call a blender. You don't stick your hand in the blender. So that's not the right time to do or go for a disarm. Same thing with the stick. If I'm doing a figure eight like this, they rush in, it's a blender. They're going to get hit. The only problem is it's not a strong hit. So they might, once again, be willing to say, you know what, I'm going to take that hit. It may not be a perfect hit, so it's worth it. I'm going to take that hit, and then I'm going to rush in and try to finish the guy with my knife. So in that case, once again, you have to practice going from the figure eight motion like this, and then put in a power move, all right? Distance and flail is not enough in my opinion. So we're using distance, flail, plus power to make them back off, okay? So a good way to practice this is first do your figure eights and start with like 3, okay? So you're going 1, 2, 3. After number 3, you're going to do a power shot. It can be anything you want, but as long as it's a very powerful shot. So boom, let's say a backhand. The next one I'm going to do 4. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and then this time I can come in with a shot like this where I put in a lot of force that way. And then again, I can go 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5 this time. And then I can bring the stick this way and boom, put in the power shot. And once again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then I can put in another power shot like that again. So practice that where you're changing the number of the flail, how many times you do the flail, and then put in a power shot. Just keep in mind that you have enough room. So thank you for watching, and take care, folks.